You cannot please come little bit more closer. So my voice, I used to be very soft spoken, but doing these programs, the pitch has increased also. So my name is. You'll do this.
So thank you all for coming. It's extremely important that we attend the session and learn about composting. The new AEE for SWM has indicated that over the next 6 months, we're going to have to transition to composting at apartment and individual house level. Okay. Earlier, apartments over 700 units were expected to compost, but now even apartments with 14 or 15 residences have to start composting, which is why Richardstown Resident Welfare Association decided to invite Mr. Vasuki Iyengar, who's a member of the Solid Waste Management Roundtable, to come and explain to us how composting is done. We are extremely fortunate to have someone like him. He has years and years of experience with composting. So, for us, it's all the mistakes they have made and learned from. We are going to just benefit from all of that. So it's going to be extremely beneficial to each of us to see what he's doing. He's happy to take questions and answers at the end. So let him just take us through whatever he wants to explain, and after that we'll save questions for the end. Is that okay? Yeah. So without any delay, over to you, Vasuki, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Manisha. So I am Vasuki Iyengar, and I have about 22 years of experience in IT industry, software industry, and now for the last 7-8 years I am working on this segment, the solid waste management segment. And so today, I'm sure I don't need to talk about the problem, because Richardstown folks are all very well aware of what the problem is, right? And also they know segregation of waste, right? All of you are separating the waste into wet, dry, and sanitary. What is the third category?
Sanitary waste.
Yeah, reject waste. So it's a law in Bangalore, in Karnataka, that citizens are supposed to separate waste into 3 categories, not 2, not just 2, because that's how most of the civic officers would like to advertise, but it is 3 categories. So the hygienic waste, the sanitary pads, the diapers, anything that has come in contact with human body should be a separate category. That is the 3rd category, and it goes into a red bin. So it means it is danger. Nobody should touch it. Okay. So now the problem, you can actually go to, first thing, you can go to YouTube and search for Mandoor Hell on Earth. It's a video made by the Deccan Herald, and how Bangalore, dumped their garbage in a village called Mandoor near Hoskote, and it destroyed the livelihood of 40 families who lived there. And now they cannot leave, they cannot live also. So what is that Bangalore can do is actually separate their waste into 3 categories, and obviously the organic waste or the kitchen waste is about 60 to 65%. In Indian families, we generate more organic waste, wet waste, and then the second category, the plastic waste, which is the dry waste, which is paper, plastic, metal, glass. That's about 25 to 30%. We can actually take care of these 2 to a good extent, and then that 5 to 10% of the reject waste, which is the hygienic waste. There are several names. So that is something that should be given to the civic society, in BBMP in here. Now, the dry waste, paper, plastic, metal, glass, you are all aware of 4R principle. What are the 4 R's?
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Which is the first one?
Reduce.
Okay, that is in 3R. So we added one more R before that. It's called refuse. So you need to actually start refusing, as though if you did not carry your wallet, you are not going to buy the coffee, right? If the coffee is being served in a paper cup, we need to say no, refuse. And if a vegetable vendor is providing vegetables in a plastic bag, we need to say we refuse to accept the bag. So refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle is the mantra, and by which we can actually reduce the the dry waste that we generate. Okay. Now we are talking about today composting and composting of the kitchen waste, which is about 60 to 65% of the waste that we generate. So here, so when we talk about composting, composting as a term, most of the places they will say, not in my backyard. It's called NIMBY, NIMBY. Let it not happen. Nothing happens in my backyard, not in the front yard, not in my house. It can happen somewhere else. You take it and do, kind of a thing. So there are two concerns. One is there is a concern about smell, bad smell, because they say composting, will it smell bad? The second thing is, will it generate mosquitoes, and will it actually affect my health, because it's an ecosystem of lot of worms and insects and this thing, the composting of stuff. So here is the compost from my home, and you can see the black gold, and I did not sieve it and try to show you something very fancy and nice dry tea powder. Okay, so it should have 40% moisture, and it has actually certain insects and worms in this compost, because it is a living thing. I don't want to sell you dead compost. That's why I have brought compost from my home, and there are things that have not completely composted, semi-composted, but I'm happy with this compost, because when I smell this, it smells like soil. It smells like as though when there is a first rain and then the earthen smell that comes, that's how it smells. Okay, so this is black gold. It's very precious. It's compost made from my home's kitchen waste. So what are the things in kitchen waste? There is vegetable peels, there is fruit peels, used tea and coffee powder. There is also puja flowers. If at all, if you have flowers, there can be actually non-vegetarian waste that also can be composted. In at home, there is no issue in because if you look at internet material, it will discourage you from composting non-vegetarian. I'll tell you the reasons. So the non-vegetarian waste, both cooked and uncooked. If you buy a fish, you clean a fish, then that also you can compost it. Now the compost generated from non-vegetarian waste is more nutritious compared to just vegetable peels and fruit peels. That's one thing that we need to understand. So these things, along with this, we also have abundant amount of dry leaves and twigs, and also some garden cuttings. These are the things that gets generated in a house. That is actually, all of this is biodegradable. Okay, so now there is a simple science and there is a lot of art in composting. So simple science is something we need to understand, then we will understand that it is very easy to maintain at home. So there are 5 things important in aerobic composting. Today's topic is, we are going to use air circulation and do aerobic composting, and there are 5 things important. First thing is the container that you need to use. Here today we have actually some of the plastic containers here. There is also this, you are very close to Pottery Town, so you have the mud pots, which is also an option. To buy a mud pot, there is plastic container. I will tell you the advantages and disadvantages and why we actually have brought plastic of all the things. So the third thing is a metal composter, mesh composter we call it as, where we use MS iron mesh or galvanized iron mesh, or it can be steel mesh also. Mesh composting is very efficient and very easy to do. So first thing is mud pots. Daily Dump sells mud pots. It works very well. They breathe naturally and they are good for composting. Now, the mud pots, when you are actually stacking up, and it can be little heavy, okay, from the weight perspective. And also there is an maybe place where there is cockroach and lizard that can go in. So I am not discouraging mud parts. I am only saying that there are advantages and disadvantages. Here the plastic containers, SWMRT launched a program called Swachhagraha. Swachhagraha is an event where we promoted composting of kitchen waste, growing your own safe vegetables and greens. Third thing is cook and eat and be healthy. So don't buy something that you don't know where it has been grown, how it has been grown. So Swachhagraha's intent is that. So the plastic containers can be light in weight, and also it is actually airtight, and there are options that I am going to show you. Now these are multi-use plastic. What our war is against single-use plastic, use and throw, and these are some things you are going to use it for multiple, but the choice is yours. Now the third thing is metal composters, very efficient. You will because air circulation is pretty good, and they are called silent composters. So these are the three options, and obviously I spoke about the first thing, which is the container. That's the first thing in aerobic composting. Now the second thing is air circulation. So the doubt about why people have so much doubt that if I do composting it's going to smell bad, is because they would have added waste into a bucket like this and for the day, and closed the lid and kept it at their home, and there was no collection on that particular day, or they were busy, they were out of town, out of the home, and then they added the second day's waste, and then there was no collection again, or they could not dispose it of. There is a third day and you open the lid, it smells bad. The reason is this is an anaerobic compost, there is no air circulation in this container. So, and you keep it closed and there is no air circulation, it smells bad. So compared to this, there is a container here. There is a bottom plate and there is a container here, and that has 3 mm holes on the sides, and then on the lid there are 3 mm holes, and then in the bottom there is a bottom hole, right? So you converted and one without air circulation to a compost bin. This is an aerobic compost bin. Because it has bottom holes, you need a bottom plate. Okay, so this is a simple one. You can make it at your home as well. If you have a Bosch drill gun and a 3 mm drill bit, you can actually make this composter yourself also. And below this, actually you can keep 3 tile pieces and then place it, then there will be better air circulation. So out of the 5, first one was container, second one is air circulation. Okay, the third important thing is that the kitchen waste typically, so there is vegetable peels, fruit peels here. It has 60 to 70% moisture or the water content. Water in the kitchen waste is the reason for most of the issues in composting, right? So that is the third thing. The kitchen waste, which is a composition of combination of vegetable peels, fruit peels, used tea, coffee powder, leftover food, non-vegetarian waste, it has moisture. Now the moisture in this thing should be absorbed by brown material, and the brown material can be crushed dry leaves. This is the easiest one that's abundantly available in Richards Park and everywhere also. Only thing is that we have to go down with a sack and fill up this particular very good source, and this can actually absorb some of the moisture that is there in the kitchen waste, but not all, right? Then there is cocoa peat. This is when you pull the husk of a coconut and remove the fiber, there is a powder that drops, and that's what is kair pit or cocoa peat. It has great water absorption capability, right? It can absorb the moisture that is there in the kitchen waste. Now the third one is compost itself. The compost, whatever you generate, you can reuse some of it and then let it absorb the moisture from the kitchen waste. So greens is kitchen waste, browns is the combination of crushed dry leaves, compost and cocoa peat. What should be the proportion? It should be equal proportion. Whatever amount of kitchen waste you have, by volume, same amount of browns. But browns is a combination of all these three things. If you try to do only with dry leaves, then you need twice the amount, right? Because it should absorb all the moisture, and there should not be any water coming out through the bottom holes. That is the simple science. So if you absorb water absorption, then if there is no liquid coming out, that means you have done a very good job in this. Now the fourth one. So, first one, what was it?
Container.
Container. Second one?
Air circulation.
Air circulation. Third one? Combination of greens and browns. The fourth one is microorganisms, composting microbes. Composting microbes, there are 10 types of composting microorganisms added in this brick. But before that, there are lactobacillus microorganisms, LAB, that helps in compost which is there in sour curd or cow dung. Slurry has many more also. So microorganism sources are those two, but for urban families they have made it easy so that you can actually use a brick initially, and then once you figure out the science of composting, then you can actually use more of your own material and less of this one. So microorganisms are there everywhere. It's there in our body. It helps us to digest our food. It makes your milk into curd. It makes actually dosa dough become sour, and the next day the dosa will form only if it is actually sour. So like that, microorganisms, there are good microbes added into this brick. So into this brick you add 1.5 liter water, soak it overnight, this brick, then it becomes powder like this, and it should remain moist, and the microorganisms which are in dormant state in this brick have been activated in this. Okay, now the actual process of composting, how to do. So take a container, the one that you made, and into this compost bin up to 4 to 6 inches there should be a bottom bed. Bottom bed of brown material is created. So what are the browns?
Cocoa peat, dry leaves, cocoa peat, and compost.
And your own compost reusing. So add these three things and create a bottom bed. And then after that, do not dump your waste. You need to actually take your waste and spread it. So do not dump it. Any whole vegetables that you have, you need to cut it into 4 pieces and then add it. If you have any rice block or about 10 or 15 chapatis, tear it and then add it. So do not create a lump. There shouldn't be any lump of cooked food or whole vegetable. That becomes an anaerobic condition in your container, doesn't allow air circulation, and it can start emanating smell. So the important thing is you need to do alternate layers of greens and browns. Greens and browns. It's a sandwich layer of this thing, and it takes about 5 to 7 days to fill this container because it keeps losing its moisture. Again, I'm taking an example of a family of 3. Okay, so once you fill this container, the 4th one was microorganism, and there is a 5th one, and that comes into picture now. Now that you have filled it up, or even on a first day you filled it up, you need to keep it in a rain protected place, location. a place in at your home. It can be a balcony, it can be a garage, it can be actually under the water tank. So somewhere actually where there is no rainwater that is falling directly, nor there is no rain splash. Okay, so but there is a air circulation still, because this is aerobic composting. So those are the 5 things: container, air circulation, absorption of moisture from greens by browns. 4th one is microorganisms. 5th one is location, where there is no air, there is no rain. Now if it is a metal composter, you can actually, there are certain pictures I will show that can be in the open and rainwater can fall on it. I'll tell you about that one. So now we need to know how many compost bins are needed, right? You cannot actually think that I can take care of all my kitchen waste in just one container. It depends on family size. So I have this popular joke because I keep on talking about this. So this white color bucket is when you are single, alone, not married. Then you need 2 of them, right? You fill one and then you fill the second one. So it's a compost bins are pairs, right? Once you get married, then you need a 30-liter drum. So 2 of them again. And then married with children, the 50-liter drum. Okay? So it depends on the family size. And if you try to do composting with lesser number of containers or lesser size, it's a failure, because you shouldn't overload the compost bin. There should be enough capacity so that you can take care of all the kitchen waste that you generate at home. This kind of a container is a vertical one, again stackable one, but plastic one, not the mud part, like a kamba. So procedure remains the same, but this is a container for apartment folks who don't have that much of space also, and because it is stackable. So the same thing with those my white buckets also, those also can be stacked. Okay, so once you fill this container, you need to leave it aside for 1 month. 1 month things will look like this. It will not look like fine coffee powder, because not everything gets composted at the same time. There are things that compost in 2 weeks, some in 3 weeks, some in 4 weeks, and some require 3 months, some require 3 cycles. Okay, so what you need to do is you can actually take out stuff that is not composted and pick them if you can, toss it into your next compost bin as a bottom bed. Okay, so and use the remaining things. So what is the use of this compost? No, Swachhagraha. Compost your kitchen waste, grow your own safe vegetables and greens, right? So there is no concept called green thumb. I don't have a green thumb, so I cannot grow. Everybody can grow. Those who can grow and cook can only survive in the future. Okay, and it doesn't matter whether they are ladies or gentlemen, both can cook actually. So grow your own greens and lead a healthy life. Okay, so now in order to grow, you need 2 portions of this compost, 2 portions of the compost and 1 portion of red soil if you would like to grow 5 easy vegetables. Now if you would like to just grow only greens, you don't need to actually add soil, you can just grow in the compost itself. Okay, so into the compost add a spoon of neem powder, add a half spoon of wood ash if you can. That's a good source of potassium. Neem powder is a good source of both nitrogen and phosphorus. It enriches the compost, and then you can grow simple greens. What are the 5 simple greens that one can grow?
Coriander, palak, methi, palak.
Okay, so spinach,
Yeah.
amaranth. Amaranth is,
Basle.
there are 5 varieties of amaranth, different varieties. Actually, there is the dill, sabsige soppu, they say in Kannada, dill. And then there is also methi, and then it's not coriander, it's actually one.
Pudina. Pudina.
Yeah,
What is the timing?
coriander germinates after 12 days because it takes, and also it depends on the quality of seeds. From the masala dabba, if you try to grow, they may not germinate and they feel that okay, it doesn't work.
What? Pudina?
Germination
Pudina
is
you don't
very
go from
important.
dabba.
So,
Oh,
so there are 5 simple greens. There are 5 simple vegetables. Sorry.
That is methi. Methi.
No.
Huh? Green mint. Mint. Pudina.
That grows well.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
Back again. So 5 simple vegetables that one can grow, in which case you need to add little bit of soil. There are people who grow without adding soil also. First one is what vegetable?
Spinach.
No, green is over, man.
Leafy vegetables. Sorry.
Tomato.
Brinjal
Tomato is very easy.
guaranteed. Very good.
Green chili.
No chilies.
Tomato.
Tomatoes, correct. No.
What is it? Beetroot.
Root, no, not root. Talking about one.
What is it?
Radish. Radish is easy
He's
to
talking
grow.
about root vegetables.
Beans. Fourth one. Fifth one.
Kovakai.
Lady's finger.
Kovakai, yeah.
Okra.
I grow kovakai.
So 5 simple vegetables, 5 simple greens. If you grow, you can take care of 60% of your waste. And then there are gourds. Bitter gourd and rich gourd are easy to grow as well. Okay. So now, do you have any questions so far on the home composting? Because I'll switch to community composting. Ma'am. Huh? The bricks are available for
One brick.
One brick to what? No.
Ma'am, so volume, by volume, whatever amount of kitchen waste you have, by volume, same amount of browns. And browns make all 3 things together. So I will not say how much to add, because composting can be done without spending any money, zero cost, provided you are ready to put effort. Second thing is low cost. Now here I would say put 1 handful and use more leaves and your own compost.
Just mix this with that.
Correct. Okay, so
Vasuki, there's a question from you.
Also, actually, the bones that remain from non-veg waste, they remain for a really long time. How does one deal with that?
So usually it
When you're
takes
sitting-
actually 3 cycles.
Yeah.
First cycle, the meat would have come off, would have composted, and the bone remains. The second time, actually the edges would have started actually brown. You may be able to break a little bit. The third round, it would compost. But there is an option where second round, you can actually crush it and add it also. So eggshells
I just
is a
buried my
usual
pot.
question asked. How do I manage eggshells? Eggshells should be kept in an open container, not in a closed container. Accumulate for a week. Keep it in an well aerated place for 1 week. Okay, and so it should not be available for dogs and cat and all those things. So keep it at a decent place. And then once a week you crush it, not hand crush it, kuttani they say, the stone one. Okay, and so we have a video. So these days I have become very crazy of making videos. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Vasuki Iyengar, you will see about 45 videos. Out of that, one is about eggshells. Okay, so You can do mixing.
Yeah, you'll have to wash.
My wife won't allow.
to
So
wash
that's
the
why I
eggshells,
have to use the
I would say otherwise by 1 week they'll start stinking.
No, it'll dry. It'll dry.
There is no need if you are keeping it in open air, right? Then it dries up.
Yeah, it just
Yeah, if you
crumbles
cannot,
easily.
then you can wash it and keep it. Also. No, in an open container without lid, you keep it on a window sill someplace. So that will work. Okay, so
Is there a ratio of how much eggshells do you put? Because I've tried it and then it's really not worked, because sometimes the eggshells can be quite hard, like they're quite strong in terms of their new properties.
see this issue of if you are trying to compost it with a variety of biomass. We shouldn't be composting. There is only potato peels generated in a chips factory and they only have potato. Then the quality of compost that comes out of only potato peels is not going to be as good as when the variety of biomass. Now, if people have lot of dairy and they have lot of oily food, then is it okay to add? Internet, if you search for, it will say no, don't add, but it shouldn't be added in bigger quantity. I am talking about a general public, a family of 4, what they generate in a normal period, and obviously with the mantra that we shouldn't be wasting food, right? That will work. Or you can add everything into composting.
Also, I just had one more question, because you brought this topic about what goes in it. We also what we eat is also very seasonal, typically in fruits. So if it's summer, you'll eat a lot of mango, and typically that goes into your compost. So does that lead to a shift in the balance of that compost?
The microorganisms and the cocoa peat mixture that you are adding, that will take care of it. You need not worry about only one type in that at a household level, I'm saying.
Because we have that with sitafal. You have it one or 2 months is only sitafal. So you're eating a lot of sitafal.
Yeah.
What
No,
about
that's
the
not an issue.
onions? Sorry.
You still eat cucumber and carrot, right? So there is some.
Yeah, but that proportion changes.
That's okay. There is no issue.
What about the seed of the fruit like sitafal and mangoes?
No,
that
they
takes
don't
a
get
3.
composted. When you will find many sapota seeds in my compost. It is there, but I just put it around the tree and it gets slowly disintegrates. Okay.
Vasuki, just one question I have. If you don't want to use the block and you want to use curd or you want to use powder, so what is the slurry? So what would be the proportion that you would have to incorporate?
There is no. It's only a little bit of that liquid that you spray on kitchen waste directly.
Okay.
After that, the brown material you still need to use.
Right. I
Right?
understand that.
So you need to cover it completely with the brown material. So it's only a spray because you cannot add too much of the water content as well. So see, the issue is vegetarian food, vegetable peels, fruit peels, use coffee tea powder and flowers. This can be taken care by curd. There are specific things with respect to non-vegetarian waste where you need specific microorganisms that helps. And in that there are three items that are there in the market. One is EM solution, effective microorganism solution. There is a waste decomposer liquid that's from the government, and then there is the brick microbial cocoa peat as a broad category. These are the 3 things that are required when you are trying to manage cooked food and non-vegetarian waste.
And these, you'll share links on where you can buy this if residents
They
want to
are
buy this?
available today here.
Yeah.
Those who would like to buy the compost bins and the bricks are available here. What we do send is we send it through Teleport, which is like a Dunzo app. We send it from my home, which is on Kanakpura Road and Nice Road area where I am located. We do send it through Teleport also. There are a couple of brands that are available, but the price is much higher on Amazon and Big Basket if you would like to order.
Some of them are they call it the tap.
That's the aerobic one, Farhana. The tapped one is aerobic. Anaerobic.
So there is bokashi composting, which is fermentation method of composting that has the tap below. It's important to understand that bokashi composting is a two-stage program. You need to pickle your waste, ferment your waste for 15 days, and then transfer it to an aerobic bin again. So that's a second stage. So typically, people find actually aerobic composting is easier, provided you are following those 5 simple things. Now the tap, there are some aerobic composting bins have a tap below, but there should be a separator. There is a grate separator below so that the waste doesn't clog the tap. Okay, so when you are buying such containers, do check on that one. And yeah.
So that excess moisture will be...
But then we've got the what they call as a liquid fertilizer and
That is in bokashi. So the reject that comes out is nutritious liquid. You need to dilute it 1:10 or 1:50 depending on the how thick it is, and then feed it to the plant. It is good nutrition for the plants. Now the vermicomposting question, many ask. I would like to, they get fascinated about vermicomposting. Do aerobic composting first and then succeed. If you can actually manage this one, then you move to vermicomposting, because vermicomposting worms are very sensitive. If you don't take care of them, the temperature, the fluffiness of the pile, they die. So, and then you will be unhappy. So they are like pets. So do aerobic composting first and then use the same material and feed the worms. That's easier. Instead of feeding fresh vegetables, feed the semi-composted material after 1 month into the earthworms.
how much?
These are very good source of potassium.